Welcome to Legacy of Leaders. I'm Dan Edelman of Heritage Capital Group, your host. Legacy of Leaders, we work with people in the community who are making a difference to help the Jacksonville community become a better place. Today I have with me Shane Grindle of Aquarian Clinic, Inc. Shane, thank you for joining us. And first of all, thank you for your service to our country.
Absolutely, thank you.
I know you spent a number of years in the service, and we appreciate that service to us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
You know, the focus of our show is about leadership, and you know, I'm sure both through your service, you've learned a lot about leadership, and then as a founder of Aquarian Clinic, you've learned a lot about being a leader. And as younger people are watching our show, you know, what have you really learned, and what would you recommend to them to be thinking about as they become up-and-coming leaders?
Yeah, I think we should all try to set the example of like what we should be doing and how we expect others to act. We have to expect that in ourselves too, though. So it's really, it sounds cliche, but really you have to learn by example. I mean, truly, right?
And I presume the Navy
did
set that example for you.
Oh, of course. I mean, I was promoted to E4 pretty quick. So once you get promoted to E4, which is in the Navy is an NCO. So now everyone E3 and below is kind of looking at you as a leader. And I was 19 and I was like, what do we do? And so you learn really quickly on the job, right? So that's how it is. You lead by example and you take care of your people. That's just the whole gist of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as you said, it's leading by example. It wasn't taught to you per se. You just saw your leaders in the Navy doing that.
Exactly. And it all starts with self-development, self-growth, and it's looking at yourself and doing some inflection, right? And looking at how you could do better and how your people are giving you feedback and taking that feedback and growing and being better. So that's kind of where I've learned by people and by people that are above me and below me. So it's really helpful to take that feedback, honestly.
And I'm sure because of the manner in which you learned, you've made some mistakes.
Yeah, many mistakes, and that's thinking that we can do it all on our own and do it all ourselves. But really, you're only as good as your team, truly.
So you learn from making those mistakes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And part of our focus on leadership is giving back to the community. And you indicated to me when we were talking that Aquarian is a fairly new business.
We are.
But you're looking to expand upon that business through giving back to the community. Talk about that a little bit and why you're doing that.
No worries. So our whole mission is to make sure that healthcare is affordable and accessible. So even for people that can't even afford us, we do want to create a nonprofit to help people that can't have anything. So we're going to kind of sponsor those people and try to give back some free healthcare in certain ways, other than with an $8 to $9 membership. So we're trying to give back in that way, 100%.
Well, and I know everybody is involved in the healthcare arena in some way, and I know the costs have gotten very, very expensive, and I know that all the providers try to give back some. I know it's a challenging from both sides.
It really is.
And so appreciate you all looking into how can you give back. And
it's important.
And obviously, just your Navy service is an example of giving back.
It's kind of my thing, right? It's like giving to my country, and now I'm giving back to my community. So it's just my calling to serve, and that's really what really kind of I'm up in the morning for. I'm like, all right, what can I do today to make things a little bit better for others?
Well, that's certainly a good example, and it's an example of, I like the fact that you served our country.
Thank you.
You became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And as an entrepreneur, you're also continuing to look at how can you give back to your community. If more of us would do that, this world would be a better place.
It's okay. It's tough times now, right? With everything kind of rising up with inflation, and this is just kind of our way to kind of help a little bit more with things, especially healthcare costs, which you can walk into a hospital and get bankrupt, and that wouldn't be hard, right?
Right.
Or going to a LabCorp request, especially if you don't have insurance. Like, what do we do? What do we do? Right. So we're trying to help with that.
Well, Shane, thank you for joining me, and for those of you at home for joining us today, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you've gotten some nuggets out of our conversation. Shane Grindle of Aquarian Clinic, thank you for being with me. I'm your host, Dan Edelman from Heritage Capital.
Thank you so much for having me. Of course.